Valentine's Day. A commercial holiday specifically engineered to get people's wallets out. Purchasing chocolates, flowers, anything to prove how much you love that special someone in your life.
Wow, thanks, Ross.
No problem. Now go on, open it.
Wow, it's a controller. And I'm pretty sure it's one of your controllers.
Yep. Instead of getting you any chocolates or stupid flowers, I figured we could just bond over a video game. And I got you a chocolate orange.
Oh, sick. Okay, yeah, let's go.
I've mentioned before that my wife Kelly likes to play games. Last year, she put, 85 hours into Disney Dreamlight Valley on her Switch. When she gets into a game, she gets super dedicated, and she's easily my biggest supporter for this channel. She's always ready to give me input on things to help me grow the channel because she wants to see me make it into something big. But she can also be reluctant to try new things if she's unsure of them. Enter It Takes Two, Hazelight Studios' most recent and most critically acclaimed game. So much so that it took the Game of the Year award in 2021, and I think the only thing that overshadows that is the director Joseph Fares promoting their previous game in 2017.
F*** the Oscars, you know? F*** the Oscars! You!
I make fun of this and the reaction is definitely ridiculous, but it was really heartwarming to see this game take the win. Hazelight specializes in games that are meant to be played with someone else. Whether it be online or sitting next to you on the couch, they are built with the intention of human cooperation. And after seeing all the praise It Takes Two received, I've been wanting to give it a try with Kelly for a while. I just never got around to pulling the trigger. But then, a couple months ago at our family Christmas get-together, my brother-in-law surprised us by gifting the game to me on Steam. So, Kendall, if you're watching, this one's for you, man. And I know I told you how much I appreciated it then, but I still very much do. But with the formalities out of the way, let's see if I can recommend It Takes Two for you and a loved one to play through on a day like today. Meet May, Cody, and their daughter Rose. May and Cody are currently unhappy with their marriage, constantly arguing and preparing to go forward with a divorce. Obviously, this has all been extremely traumatic for poor Rose. After a bad argument, Rose secludes herself and cries over some dolls she made that represents Cody and May. The tears fall onto the dolls, transferring their souls to the respective caricatures. After a short freakout, they have a run-in with this talking book, Dr. Hakim, a renowned couples therapist and counselor who tells them to get back to their bodies, they'll have to use cooperation. From here, the duo travels to several locations, solving puzzles and interacting with whatever's in front of them to progress. I'm going to save my in-depth thoughts on the narrative for now, so those of you who are interested won't be spoiled if you decide to pick it up after this video. In the meantime, let's transition into the misadventures that Cody and May find themselves getting wrapped up into. From a bird's eye perspective, It Takes Two is a completely cooperative 3D platformer. Both Cody and May are capable of jumping and double jumping, a short aerial dash or dodge roll, a ground pound, later they find a rope that gives them the means to swing from anchor points, and there are several rails to grind on. This all sounds like pretty standard stuff, like I said, but it's the game's constant commitment to introduce new mechanics that makes it a constant joy. Every hour or two, Cody and May will each get a new ability that they have to use in tandem to complete the upcoming challenges. One level will see Cody shooting globs of explosive goo onto the environment or at the enemies, and May gets a matchstick rifle that can ignite those globs. Then there are the anti-gravity boots that May has, plus Cody's size-changing abilities, then to eventually find Cody with a leaf whip and May with a sickle attack and a water squirter. It's this impressive variety that caused us to lose track of time on several occasions at night. We would get so caught up in seeing what both of our new powers could do that we would get all the way to the end of one level, see the new powers for the upcoming level, and then repeat the cycle again until it's midnight and we both should have gone to bed hours ago. It was a constant surprise to see what we were given too. Easily, one of the coolest levels was when it was turned into a dungeon crawler out of nowhere with cooldowns and ultimate attacks. Cody gets ice powers and May has this fire sword. These incredible mechanics only stay long enough for you to not get sick of it and wish you had more time to play with them. Toys that you only get a certain amount of time to play with, in other words. I was also a huge fan of the time rewind rewinding gimmick of the clock level. Kelly's favorite was the music theme level where May's ability is to use her voice as a puzzle solving tool as well as a projectile. I was actually a little jealous of all the cool abilities May gets over Cody. She gets the sickle combo like I mentioned, then there's a 2D fighting section she gets to play through, which looks so cool. Cody has some neat abilities too, but May's were way more action focused. But it's okay, you know, I'm not bitter at all. And I don't know if you've noticed yet, but this game is absolutely gorgeous. There were so many moments where I was just taken aback by how much they were able to visually pack a punch here. Even when in split screen, the framing of all of these vistas are condensed enough to wow you if you're looking. The outdoor levels were always gorgeous to me. I'm a sucker for a good looking outdoor level. The fidelity of the textures also caught my attention. You can see the wrinkles of something like plastic, the folds of these pillows, or the mesh of these styrofoam sound pads. And oh my god, the snow globe level was just a visual treat from start to finish. The game also does a phenomenal job at setting up this impressive looking directional lighting, but it never gets in the way of the game because Cody and May have artificial drop shadows that help with positioning during platforming, which is very much appreciated. As we were going through all of these levels, and I'm taking in all the unique mechanics that get swapped in and out at such a quick pace, and the gorgeous environments, that I'm honestly baffled. Most games have a habit of reusing assets, level layouts, animations, everything like that in an attempt to cut down on dev time, or maybe even stretch out the game's length. Of course, this is necessary in a lot of titles with huge inflated budgets that have a certain level of quality and quantity to meet, but that's all the more reason why It Takes Two impresses me so much. I don't think I spotted a single reused asset, set piece, animation throughout the whole game. If you wanted to get nitpicky, I guess you could say that about the few times you have aiming reticles, but I'd laugh at you and tell you to stop being
shallow and pedantic.
It's amazing that the game is so varied and there are so many small things to do even aside from the main linear chunks of the game. You can come across these competitive minigames around almost every corner. They're completely optional and aren't worth anything but bragging rights, but they're always fun to just play a round or two. Unless it's one that your wife gets close to beating you at and she makes you play it over and over until she finally gets a win off of you, or the objectively best minigame, Ice Shuffleboard. There are certain sections players will come to that kind of act as open hub areas to just kind of goof off for a minute if they want to. Not only are all of these just really cozy and interesting to explore together, it's fun to find something cool and elbow your player to come check this out. But there are also several pointless interactions in these areas that add so much life to everything. In the snow globe level, we found these little lost turtles and brought them back to their mom. We posed for a Polaroid picture. We rode this train around a toy kingdom. We found a really heartbreaking recording from Rose. And we found a cannon to shoot us at a dartboard. Those are only a few of the distractions that really do go a long way in giving the in-between level hubs activities for us to play with. Going into this game, I was kind of worried Kelly wasn't going to keep up with everything the game was throwing at us. Like I mentioned, her favorite games are things like Sims, Oxenfree, and Disney Dreamlight Valley. She usually has a problem with games featuring free-moving cameras due to motion sickness.
Why is this making me more sick than being in it?
So when we started playing and I realized that it was a platformer with not one but two frequently moving cameras, I got a little scared. But surprisingly, she completely crushed it. Not only did we only have one or two instances where motion sickness started creeping up on her, and me too honestly, but she was keeping pace with me in a lot of the platforming sections, kinda making me a little bit proud with how well she was doing. Of course, this is awesome for Kelly, but I can't help but see how well the game looks out for players like her too. Most of our abilities and actions are taught to us in very well thought out ways, ramping up the challenge with added dangers after we have the basics down. Also making sure to keep things as frustration free as possible while not omitting challenge altogether. Cody and May can both die, but as long as one of them is on the field, they won't have to start the challenge over. Communication is key to beating some of these bosses, but how could I forget?
Collaboration!
It feels so good when we both pull our own weight to overcome a tough boss or section, and it kinda made me curious to put her in front of other games now to see what our next adventure will be like, because she really enjoyed playing too, so much so that we were getting kinda bummed as we started to come up on the end of the game. Every story does have to come to an end, and I think it's time that we did the same. I want to bring Kelly in to tell you all about our thoughts on May and Cody's journey and how it resolves, but if you don't want to be spoiled on the story, I recommend you use the timestamps in the description to skip past this section. Once you and your loved one have finished the story yourselves, come back and listen to us discuss if you're so inclined. What do you think your favorite part of the whole story was?
I really enjoyed like the snow globe. They finally started to like talk about their past and how you could see like like a glimmer of love behind their eyes.
Yeah.
Just like when it ended and it was where he had proposed, that was special.
The elephant scene.
That was so messed up.
They think that the whole reason that they're in this thing is because Rose cried on them. And to rectify that, they are like, how do we make her cry again?
Murdering her elephant, her favorite toy. Let's just kill it and rip it to shreds. Then she'll cry on us. We're great parents.
And honestly, the way they did it was pretty genius. It made it was like a horror scene from a scary movie. Because she was going, no, please stop. Don't continue
and then
to
they
kill me.
throw her off a cliff.
Yeah. After they rip off all of her limbs.
Literally loses a leg.
And then they jump down underneath her while she's crying, and they're like bathing in her tears. It's pretty messed up.
Very messed up.
Whenever they finally start going to therapy, and they have what was the first one was the first one was attraction. Yeah, the
attraction.
Attraction.
Yeah, that.
And that was the snow globe. And then the second one was time, right? But no, I think that was probably my favorite part of the whole story was, I guess it was towards the end. Well, it was more towards, they started going to therapy, I guess towards the middle, you could say.
After the elephant.
Yeah, killing the
elephant. He tears
elephant.
up the letter. And they have to go to therapy to earn the 4 pieces of it.
Yeah. I think that those are my favorite because that was whenever you really got to feel like you actually started to get to know Cody and May and all their flaws.
Well, we saw their flaws from the beginning, but...
Yeah, and speaking of, May is a total bitch at the beginning of the game. I feel bad for Cody.
I feel guilty playing her.
Oh, the passions. Cody's passion for gardening.
Oh, yeah.
I think that kind of lets you know that May really didn't give him the time of day when she should have. Yeah. Because she didn't know about his passion.
He was growing some other woman.
No, it was...
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
It was joy.
It was joy.
And his explanation was so sweet. What was it? He said he planted it so they would always have joy in their lives. Yeah.
I don't know what my favorite level would be, but I assume your favorite level was that last level, the music one.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Her little singing was so pretty.
Yeah, you would sit there and you would just stand still and hold the button down so you could hear her sing. You want to talk about the end?
I cried a lot.
And how it made you bawl like a baby.
I
teared up a good bit too. The note that Rose had left them was basically a I'm running away note, and it was the worst.
Because she blamed herself.
She blamed herself for them getting a divorce, which broke our hearts pretty much. Me too. I was tearing up too. It was, the reasonings were so silly, but it's like something that was so genuine for a child. It was like,
I'm sorry that I don't brush my teeth before bedtime, and I'm sorry that I read stories after bed.
And I don't put away my toys, and that's why I'm running away. And she already had money for a bus ticket, and it was all because she wanted her mom and dad to be friends again. Oh, it was a little sad.
A little.
It was pretty freaking sad. Kelly said that I picked something up pretty good. The camera swaps for the first time ever in the entire game. You only have control of one character. Kelly had control of May walking through what is basically a dressing room.
Through the backstage, but she's literally walking on a red carpet.
Before that, perspective switches back to Cody, and he's like also getting prepared. So I made the connection as like, this is kind of like a wedding day. Like both the bride and the groom are getting ready, and then they're getting ready to meet for like this big nervous thing. And Kelly also mentioned right before May's about to walk out of the curtains, she could feel a heartbeat from the DualSense in the controller, which I thought was so cool. Whenever she walks out and she sings, they fall back in love.
I'm not gonna lie, I was waiting for some killer lyrics.
Really? And then all she did was like,
it was beautiful though.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful. They float in the air and they give each other a big smooch.
They do be kissing. And Dr. Hakim goes, very nice.
I highly recommend playing this with your partner. It puts your relationship in perspective and helps you realize like how good you have it. It makes you appreciate each other a lot more.
What a perfect game to play with a significant other. It Takes Two is probably one of the most real stories of domestic struggle I've ever played. And I say that with the full knowledge of Dr. Hakim and his gyrating book ass being in the game.
What are you doing?
Don't like it? No. Okay, okay. You're entitled to your own opinion.
The balance of all of its themes are really outstanding. It's difficult to put the remarkable storytelling on display here because a lot of heavy lifting is done by those optional things you can interact with, and I don't want to ruin that for you all. I did enjoy the reference to Hazelight's previous game, and I think there was also a recreation of that one room from Ocarina of Time. But again, that should just go to show how much interactive variety is packed into this game. If you need more convincing to go pick this game up for you and your significant other, I don't know what to tell you. It's an amazing game that I think most couples could probably benefit from playing. It won't solve every issue you have, but it's definitely good at bringing some issues up without making you feel immediately attacked, because it's all being viewed through the lens of Cody and May. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Eat lots of chocolate and be sure to play It Takes Two. But anyway, I appreciate you for watching, so thanks for stopping by and have a great day.